to Francois Lafargue in Bordeaux. This is on November 12th. My dear Lafargue, I hope very much that Monsieur Il Amoroso has excused to you my unforgivable silence. For one thing, I was plagued by relapses of my illness. For another, I was so occupied with my laborious works that I neglected the correspondence with even my closest friends. If I did not count you among the latter, I would never have dared offend the normal courtesies. I thank you heartily for the wine, since I am come from a wine-growing region and am an ex-grower of a vineyard. I know well how to appreciate the value of wine. I even agree a little with old Martin Luther, who said that the man who does not love wine would never amount to anything much. No rule without exception. But one cannot, for example, deny that the political movement in England has been hastened by the commercial treaty with France and the imports of French wines. This is one of the good things that Louis Bonaparte brought about, while poor Louis Philippe has been so intimidated by the northern manufacturers that he did not dare to conclude any commercial treaties with England. It is only to be regretted that such regimes as those of Napoleon, which are based on the exhaustion and impotence of both antagonistic social classes, brought some material progress to the price of general demoralization. Fortunately, the masses of workers cannot be demoralized. Manual work is the great antidote against every social infection. You will have rejoiced, as I did, at the defeat of President Andrew Johnson at the last election. The workers of the North have finally come to understand very well that a white skin cannot emancipate itself so long as the black skin is branded. On Saturday evening, I received, through Citizen Dupont, a letter from the Secretary of the Medical Faculty addressed to Paul Lafargue. It demanded papers which, with the exception of the doctoral diploma, could be found neither at my daughter's lawyer's nor at your son's representative. You must send those documents immediately. Please tell your son that he would oblige me very much if he did not carry on any propaganda in Paris. The times are too dangerous. The best he can do in Paris is to use his time to profit from his contact with Dr. Moylin. He does not lose anything by being sparing with his polemical gift. The more he restrains himself now, the better fighter he will be at the appropriate moment. My daughter begs you to send her, through Paul, yours and me, Lafargue's photographs. My whole family joins me in sending our warmest greetings to the whole Lafargue family. So, interesting. From Frederick Engels. This is from a letter to Frederick Engels. I decided not to write you until I could announce the completion of the book, which is now the case. Boom, boom. I also did not want to bore you with the reasons for the frequent delays, namely carbuncles on my posterior and in the vicinity of my penis, the remains of which are now fading and which permit me to assume sitting, that is, writing, in this position only at great pain. I do not take arsenic because it makes me too stupid, and at least for the little time that I have when writing is possible, I want to have a clear head. Next week I must go myself to the manuscript in Hamburg. I did not like the tone of Meissner's last letter. In addition, yesterday I received the enclosed scrap of paper from Borkheim. I have every reason to believe that the Continental Friend is Privy Councillor Bucher. Borkheim has written him a letter which he read to me about his projected trip to Silesia, where he has family business. Bucher answered him immediately. Hence, behind this canard hoax, I smell an intrigue, and I must personally put the knife to Meissner's breast. Otherwise, the fellow will be capable of holding back my manuscript, which I estimate at 25 big proof sheets, and at the same time not printing the book under the pretext of waiting for the volume. I must first of all get my clothes and watch out of the pawn shop. Also, I can hardly leave my family in its present circumstances when they are without a sou and the creditors are becoming daily more impudent. Finally, so that I don't forget, all the money which I used for Laura's champagne cure went the way of all flesh. She must now have red wine and a better quality than I can command. Voilà, voilà. Such is the situation. Salute. What's a champagne? What's a champagne? Okay. I arrived here at noon yesterday. The ship sailed for. Oh, this is to Frederick Engels. Again, this is April 13th. Dear Fred, I arrived here at noon yesterday. The ship sailed from London on Wednesday at 8 in the morning. In this, you can see the whole story of the sea voyage. Crazy weather and storm. After having been cooped up for so long, I felt tremendously jolly as the 500 hogs on board. Still, the thing would have been boring in the long run, with all the sick and deserting crowd right and left, if a small nucleus had not held firm. This was a very mixed circle, to wit, This was a very mixed circle, to wit, a German sea captain, a small fellow, but one who resembled you facially, with your kind of humor and same good-natured, flippant twinkle in his eyes. A London cattle dealer, a real John Bull, bovine in every respect. A German watchmaker from London, a fine chap, a German from Texas, and the main personality. A German who for the last 15 years had knocked about in eastern Peru, a geographic area only recently explored, where, among other things, human flesh is being eaten heartily. A mad, energetic, and gay fellow, he had with him a very valuable collection of stone axes, etc., which were of caliber to have been found in caves. As an appendage, one female, the other ladies all seasick, and vomiting in the ladies' cabin, an ancient nag. This was what he is referring to as an appendage. Motherfucker. Sorry. An appendage, one female, an ancient nag with a toothless mouth, speaking refined Hanoverian, daughter of an ancestral Hanoverian minister named Von Bear or something, now for some time a do-gooder, an exalter of labor, an acquaintance of Jules Simon, full of soulfulness, of which she bores our bovine friend to death. Well, Thursday evening, when the storm was at its worst, so that all the tables and the chairs were dancing, we drank en petit compte, while the old female nag lay on the sofa from which the movement of the ship tossed her from time to time on the floor in the middle of the cabin, to divert her a little. What captivated this beauty here under these difficult conditions? Why did she not retire to the female chamber? Our German wild man recounted with real gusto the sexual filthiness of the primitives. Here was the attraction for the delicate, pure, refined lady. One example, he was entertained in an Indian tent on the very day when the woman lay on confinement. The placenta was roasted, and as the highest expression of hospitality, he was given a piece of this sweetbread to share in the celebration. Immediately on arrival, I went to see Meisner. The clerk told me he would not be back before 3 o'clock. I left my card with an invitation to Herr Meisner for dinner. He came with another person and asked that I come with him, as his wife expected him. I refused, and we agreed that he visit me at 7 in the evening. He told me in passing that Strom was probably still in Hamburg. Hence, I went to see Strom's brother. The very same morning, our man had gone to Paris. Meisner came in the evening. A decent fellow, although somewhat Saxonish, as the name indicates. After a brief palaver, he was all right. I promptly brought the manuscript to his publishing house and put it in a safe there. Printing will begin in a few days, and it will proceed quickly. We had some drinks then, and he expressed his great delight in making acquaintance with my work. He now wants to have the work appear in 3 volumes. He is against a separate issue of the last book, as I had planned. He said that from the point of view of sales and for the superficial readers, he counted most on that part. I told him I would go along with him in this regards. At all events, in Meisner, we have a man entirely at our disposal. He has great contempt for the entire literary rascal pack. I found it wise not to represent him in your little bill. The most pleasant surprises should always be kept for the last. And now, adieu, old boy. Best compliments to Mrs. Burns.